All right, welcome back, True Seeker. It is Thursday, June 13th, 2024, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. 2 years ago, Yellowstone had a once-in-a-thousand-year rain event on this day. The year before that, Netanyahu stepped down from power, and then he returned December 29th, 2022, Albert Pike's birthday anniversary. And, of course, 1229, the date December 29th, is like the number 1229, which is the 201st prime number. Again, 201, a very special number to the Jesuit order who operates on behalf of the Roman Catholic Church out of Italy. Notice, on the day leaving 201 days left in the year, Joe Biden with 1,000 201s connected to his Jesuit upbringing. He's in Italy of all places. And who's he with? He's with Zelensky at the G7 on the last day of Trump being 77 years old, when this nation's capital is on the 77th meridian and G's the seventh letter. But that's another story. He's with Zelensky in Italy. And in light of G7 and G being the seventh letter, don't forget the Jesuit headquarters is in Italy. The Church of the Jesu, spelled with a G. It's like the beginning of Jesus, but with a G. But yeah, just to see this, and again, if you guys haven't been here, I mean, we haven't covered as much about Russia and Ukraine lately because it's in the background. We talked about in a big way why the money went to Israel and Ukraine at the same time, and it got approved on Hitler's birthday. But at the beginning of Russia-Ukraine, we were all over it and just documenting 201 after 201 after 201 after 201. It was just ridiculous. And to give you some of the highlights, before the war even began, Biden and Putin met on Pearl Harbor Day, the day that we got entered into World War II. And let's not forget, the first troops were deployed to World War II from the U.S. at the beginning of 1942. That's the year Joe Biden was born. And let's not forget that Joe Biden was born 201 months and 1 day before Hawaii was made a state. Let's not forget that either. But again, his wingman Barack's from Hawaii. We all know what they did to Maui last year. And then Biden shows up on the state's 64th birthday. Anyway, they met about the war, the dispute with Russia and their dispute with Ukraine. Biden and Putin did exactly 201 days into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year, which began on Cannonball Day, according to the Jesuits, May 20th. If you want to look into the Jesuits and Cannonball Day, you'll start to understand why Billy Cannon really died on Cannonball Day. And the joke with Eileen Cannon, the judge that Trump has the feud with, and why they picked May 20th, Cannonball Day. Again, you'll start to realize everything's a big Jesuit joke because they run. They are the New World Order. This thing, these presidents and politicians and people on TV and heads of the military, this phrase they've uttered for decades, New World Order, it is a thing, and you start to realize it's the Jesuits, and it starts to make a lot of sense. They're a military order that claims to operate in 112 nations on behalf of the Catholic Church, which is worldwide. You start to realize we're on the Catholic Church's calendar given to us by a Jesuit priest. You start to realize how important certain numbers are to their order, like 201. Again, the first Jesuit pope's also the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican, and not by accident. But again, Putin and Biden meet 201 days after the first Jesuit Ignatian year begins, and then this happens. This war breaks out shortly after in a huge ritual, but the war begins in the Donbass region. And in Gematria, Donbass region equals 201, like the Jesuit order, like Order of Illuminati, like Order of Assassins. Those are all real things. Look them up. There is a real Order of Assassins in history. Remember, Joe Biden lost his wife, daughter, and son all in 201 rituals. Beau Biden dead at 46, 201 days before the Pope's birthday. The name of the Jesuit priest who did the funeral and the inauguration for Joe Biden, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, equals 201, like Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits. The founder of the Jesuits, his name in Gematria. Again, Gematria is just the practice of coding numbers into words. Very simple. It's elementary. All of these important names in Jesuit history equate to 201. The first Jesuit pope is Pope Francis. His birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 201. So, again, we've been talking about how Joe Biden sacrificed his wife and daughter in 72 when he became senator-elect in a big 201 ritual. They died on Limestone Road, which equals 201. Then again, Bo Biden dead 201 days from the Pope's birthday. And, Donald Trump from the Jesuit fraternity, he's burying his ex-wife 45 years after their marriage on the 201st day of the year. And he had their first child together, Donald Trump Jr., on on the 201st day of Trump's age. And they were married in a big 201 ritual. Again, this goes beyond Joe Biden. Donald Trump's part of this Jesuit fraternity. A lot of world leaders are. But, could it just be any more blatant? All that we've been talking about 201 with a million things, even way before Russia, Ukraine. But now this. And remember, it's a very special moment right now. Here, we have to write out for the person who's new here, because there's always a new person, this gematria thing. It is very simple. It's elementary. There are 4 base ciphers of the English language. You want to know all 4 ciphers. You got to spell correctly. Ignatius of Loyola, this is the founder of the Jesuits, with the alphabetic order, which is just A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26, the name Ignatius of Loyola. You sub each letter for the number based on its placement according to the alphabetic order. I would be the 9th letter, G would be the 7th, N would be the 14th, A would be the 1st, T would be the 20th. Ignatius of Loyola, 201. If you take the alphabetic order and apply numerology to each letter, so now in this cipher, Z is still the 26th letter, but the numerology of 26 is 2 plus 6 is 8. You make each letter a single-digit number. Z is 8 instead of 26 in this cipher. You get smaller values. Ignatius of Loyola equals 75. Right now, the leader of the Jesuits, Arturo Sosa, is 75 years old. The war in Israel began while Israel was 75 years old. And remember, state of Israel equals 201. David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister, died 201 days after the anniversary of Israel's establishment on May 14th. The founder of the Illuminati, who was a Jesuit, Adam Weishaupt, he died 201 days after the anniversary of founding the Illuminati. Order of Illuminati is 201, the same way as Ignatius Loyola. But 201.75, in reverse, Ignatius Loyola is 231. That's just Z is 1 back to A is 26, reverse alphabetic order. That's the 21st triangular number. Jesuit also has the gematria 21. And notice 201 is similar to 21, and the Holy Bible is 201, and Bible is 21, and 21 is the 6th triangular number, and man is made on the 6th day in the image of God, and God makes light, which makes all things possible, and in Hebrew, light has the 201 connection. There's rhyme and reason behind these numbers and why they're chosen. But you just pay attention and you learn that they are significant to these people, and these things have been significant for thousands of years in this Kabbalistic knowledge. You start to see why they're working around a code that's from the old world. And again, a lot of people, their belief systems are based from that same time period. The Abrahamic religions are based in stories from thousands of years ago, back when this kind of stuff was a part of at least those societies. But anyway, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology, Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, has the 87 connection. That's how old the Pope is right now. So the first Jesuit Pope ever, Pope Francis, is 87. The leader of the Jesuits right now, Arturo Sosa, who's the modern day Ignatius of Loyola, he's 75 years old. Again, this war popped off while Israel was 75. And remember, the New York Times, always controlled by Jesuits, they wrote the article October 6th, 1940. That was a date with 75 numerology. They wrote the headline, New World Order Pledged to Jews. If you want to look that up, New York Times, October 6th, 1940, headline, New World Order Pledged to Jews. It's a real story. And again, it was on 75 date numerology. We've been talking about this headline and what would happen when Israel was 75 for a very long time, like the better part of the last decade. But New World Order has that 75. You see? And you see the 177 as well? The Jesuit order has the 177, just like Hunter Biden. Like it was Hunter Biden guilty 177 days after the Pope's birthday, not long ago. But yeah, this two on the day leaving 201 days left in the year, Biden with Zelensky in Italy now. I mean, and we just sent that crazy amount of money. Do you guys remember the 201 ritual with the 95 billion? Here, let's rewind real quick. So many 201s to keep up with. Let me see if I just put 20195 Israel, Ukraine. Let me see if this gets us where we need to be. It was just a few weeks back. It was right after Hitler's birthday. Let's see. Here we go. April 24th, 2024. Again, Biden signed into law the 95 billion in aid for Israel and Ukraine, and that was the 201st day of the war. And the 95 billion matters because the Jesuit order equals 201, and their original mission was to counter the 95 Theses written by Martin Luther in the Protestant Reformation. And from the day that Martin Luther penned the 95 Theses to the day that the Jesuits were created in Paris, France, August 15th, 1534, that was 201 months later. When Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on the 95th day of the year, again, 201 days later, October 22nd, this nation got its first major gun control legislation. And don't forget, those Kennedys were Jesuit educated, and RFK was campaigning about gun control just days before his assassination. And from his shooting to the gun control was 139 days later, like gun control equals 139, like Freemasonry, like America. And again, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation, and the Jesuits have been in D.C. for longer than the Feds or the Masonic Temple. But yeah, all these things are related. And again, rites of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, the rites were written by Jesuit priests. But the 201s, they're ever flowing. There's so many more that have happened in the time of Russia, Ukraine that I just have to go back and look at all the notes over the years to recall them all. But they've done it with the head of the United Nations, Antonio Gutierrez. His name's even 201, the head of the UN right now. But yeah, so this this Biden Zelensky thing in Italy, I mean, it's just God, you would think that there'd be a lot of people out there who are aware of this work, who've been on the fence. Like, at what point do you like get off the fence and go, okay, this can't be a coincidence still, you know, pledging this. Look at this. Biden and Zelensky showed unity, signing a 10-year security deal that will ensure Ukraine can defend itself now and into the future. That's a lot of taxpayer money guaranteed on the hook plus interest for another decade when we already have massive bills to pay and we've already sent a bunch of money over there. And again, a lot of us grew up in neighborhoods that have never had any kind of intervention. And right now, at this moment in history, they could use one more than ever. Not that they couldn't have used a major one anytime in the last 50 or so years. So that's why for people to like, I can't stand that people are glued to their TVs, letting the TV program them, and then they even hear certain things on TV. Like they can literally hear if they watch enough cable news and see enough people come on. The phrase "New World Order." I watch more news than probably the average person because I'm breaking it down, trying to wake people up to just how encoded, how ritualistic it is every single day. Again, I stopped watching the news for a long time after 9/11 because I understood back to your regularly scheduled programming made so much more sense to me after 9/11 happened. And just how they tried to get you on board with the and the same thing's been going on ever since October 7th last year. But oh my goodness. Anyway, don't forget 9/11. The Twin Towers became 0 towers before they became 1 tower. 201. And they put Timothy McVeigh to death right before that, and he blew up Oklahoma City in the massive 201 ritual. And also, if you look, McVeigh was executed June 11th, 2001, exactly 3 months to 9/11. But the day he was sentenced to death was the day leaving 201 days left in the year. This day, June 13th, years earlier. Sentenced on this day, executed 3 months before 9/11 when the mega 201 went down right at the beginning of the 21st century. So, yeah, and don't forget it either. Joe Biden, when he became senator elect and his wife and daughter died in the 201 car crash, um, that election that he won in 72 was the 47th U.S. presidential election that year. The 47th. Again, he became 47th VP with 47-year-old Obama. He was a senator for 47 years before becoming president elect. President equals 47, like White House, like government, like authority, like Republican, like Democrat. Again, the letters DC in reverse are 47. The cornerstone for DC was laid September 18th, 1793, a date with 47 numerology. The Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. And then for the cherry on top, Ukraine equals 47. Ukraine equals 47. Joe Biden with all these 47s. A big part of his legacy is going to be, what he did for little old Ukraine up against big bad Russia. And let's not forget, Russia showed up in Cuba yesterday, 201 days from Castro's death anniversary. Castro, who was Jesuit educated, little Cold War tribute. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. George Washington warning about the Illuminati founded by a Jesuit. Lincoln blaming the American Civil War on the Jesuits. Most people in America today don't even know who the Jesuits are or a thing about them. Meanwhile, all these puppets that sell us out in every election, I shouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them are Jesuit educated, including Biden and Trump. Yet again, our two choices. Both candidates aren't in skull and bones. They probably came up in the Jesuit education system. But here's just the clincher to this too. This is the clincher for this one right here. Okay. Look at how today is the 207th day of Joe Biden's age. 207. And remember, on October 4th, it was a Wednesday. We had the 10-4 emergency alert test in the U.S., and Russia did the same thing the same day. And we were talking about how they heavily encoded 207 into the news and how the 207 had a connection with October 7th, just days away. And then sure enough, the war in Israel began on that day. But the piece we were overlooking then about the 207 was that the Jesuit priest who translated Art of War, Jean-Joseph Marie Amiot, equals 207. And, the other day when all the world leaders were gathering to remember World War II and D-Day, they told you that a veteran who was 102 years old died en route. We did a longer stream on this then, but again, those are big numbers with Art of War and World War. They have everything to do with Pearl Harbor and 9/11. And many other things. And the American Civil War blamed on Jesuits beginning on the 102nd day of the year. Again, American Civil War began April 12th, 1861. Doesn't it all start to make a lot of sense when Lincoln, and again, it makes you wonder how much of the act Lincoln was a part of. Lincoln was the 16th president, the Jesuit since the 16th century. Lincoln shot in a theater with all the parallels to Kennedy. But he did blame the war on the Jesuits. And the war did begin on the 102nd day of the year. And again, the only reason anybody knows about the text Art of War is because of the Jesuit priest who supposedly found the Chinese translation from the Chinese war general Sun Tzu, which there's no historical record of anywhere. The Jesuit logo is the sun, Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu equals 41 like USA. And remember, the Jesuit suppression lasted 41 years. And the USA was formed in the time of it, as well as the Illuminati by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And in light of the Jesuit suppression lasting 41 years and USA equaling 41, which is the 13th prime, going with the 13 stripes and 13 years of indoctrination, which we call the school system, today is 179 days after Joe Biden's it's 179 days after the Pope's birthday, the 41st prime number. The 41st prime, as Biden is in Italy, and clearly a Jesuit salute, pledging off on 10 years of military bills for a nation not really that close to the U.S., but the U.S. would say it's highly strategic because of its relationship in the world with Russia. And again, at the end of the day, where were where was the Jesuit order saved in the time of their suppression? That's right, they were saved in Russia. And what's in the history book? That their order was preserved with 201 Jesuit priests. So again, just think about how all this stuff comes full circle. And now on the day leaving 201 days, Zelensky and Biden are agreeing to 10 years of U.S. tax support, big time. to essentially fight big bad Russia in a proxy war as rumors of a Cold War start again in a 201 ritual with Castro's death anniversary. I mean, it's just and after being here for over 10 years and for a better part of that, pointing out the major Jesuit rituals like when Castro died when it was breaking news, and then again when his son committed suicide. And to remind you about Art of War. Art of War, published in 1772. President Biden equals 72. President Trump equals 72. Biden, senator elect in 72, loses his son when he's 72 years old. A million more 72s. But again, that's 4 years before this nation's founded. And also 1772 is also in the time of the Jesuit suppression. you know, maybe it didn't get the recognition at the time, but it's like, okay, that was supposedly in the time of the suppression. So, um, yeah, it's just just to go back to what we were looking at on October 4th. Again, this TFR episode still exists, but we were pointing out how the Reuters article about how Russia did the test the same day as the US was posted at 2:07 a.m. and they emphasized the phrase "attention, remain calm," which equals 2:07. And this was in October. And you think Russia, October, Hollywood, Hunt for Red October equals 207. And again, that movie series, the star character is Jack Ryan, who's a Jesuit educated CIA agent. And let's not forget the words in the CIA's logo, Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America equals 201. And the motto, the work of a nation, the center of intelligence equals 201. And again, the CIA created on the 201st day of the Pope's age. But so that stood out. And the piece we were missing at the time, I didn't have this at the time. I was missing how the Jesuit priest who translated Art of War had the 207 name. That escaped me that day. But what we were looking at was just other 207s. The New World Order, the phrase is 207. The number of the beast, 207. October 7th, we saw 207, Putin's birthday. Next thing you know, war's popping off on that day. Foreshadowing 207. Terrorist attack 207. New York City, New York 207. It ended up not being New York, but it was on the anniversary of the U.S. invading Afghanistan after 9/11 and what happened in New York in the nation's capital. Statue of Liberty also has that 207, and that came over from France, the land of the Jesuits. Just makes you wonder. The whole QAnon Jesuit psyop. Again, QAnon and Jewish gematria equates to 201. The Q was promoting the storm is coming. Like Trump was saying, calm before the storm, but the storm is coming 207. And yeah, again, just the whole 104 significance with the church. And it ended up popping off that day. Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's birthday. So, this post is before October 7th, but saying that there's something up with this. Russia and the U.S. 10-4 alerts when 10-4 is related to the phrase 10-4 over and out communication, like the message is received, the message is over. So yeah, it's like a full flex today with Biden in Italy pledging all this money for a decade when we got crazy financial problems. Like, what in the world? I mean, it's just so obvious that it's just it's annoying, you guys, because I mean, literally, we shouldn't be having to work hard at all to persuade people to listen to what we're claiming over here. We've been dead on the money for a decade straight, and in the time of the pandemic, I don't think anyone put out more accurate forecasts of anything, and also kept away from the needless fear mongering. While I was accurately forecasting everything about COVID, including when it would end as soon as it began, which is true because you can read my book that came out in the middle of 2020, which said why the whole thing was going to be wound down when the year of the tiger came down. Another 201 ritual. But Yeah, it's just it's annoying that it's 2024 and these people are still getting away with this crap, and most of the country does not have a clue. It's just it seems impossible. It seems impossible that it could be this way in the information age. And again, I say shame on a lot of people who know that they could be doing more to help get the message out. And instead of doing that, because they're worried about the consequences that'll come with it. I mean, that's there are several people who've had me on, and then things went down for them. They got their whole program deleted in no time. They lost their channel. But again, that should actually be like the thing that should validate it the most, really. And see, if we didn't live in a world where people had to pay bills, I think that would. I think if people had that happen to them, they'd be like, you know what, I'm going to speak out about that even more. But then when it becomes between that and getting a paycheck, in this world, the paycheck wins. That's why people stay in their lane. Almost everyone's just got to focus on the job or going to school so they can get the better job so they can pay the bills. And as long as that's the mentality, this will be the world we live in. But yeah, other things in the news today. 201. El Nino is dead on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year. Isn't that kind of interesting in light of how weather control equals 201? And let's never forget that Lyndon Johnson said 201 days after JFK died that who controls the weather controls the world. And he said it at Jesuit University, Holy Cross. And the first act of weather warfare goes back to August 15th, 1952, the Jesuit order's birthday. And all the mini 201 weather control things we've talked about over the years, including to what happened at Yellowstone 2 years ago on this day. You know, oh my goodness. Bill Gates, to try to save the world from climate change, is building his experimental nuclear reactor in Wyoming, where that happened 2 years ago. And let's not forget how his name, William Henry Gates, equals 201. And he was the main co-sponsor of Event 201, the pandemic simulation that put, you know, more money in his pocket. He's made a lot more money since he's become a philanthropist in the jab business, even more than computers. As crazy as that is the thing. But and we all know what he said in 2010 about jabs. 2010 was the year. If you don't know what he said at his TED Talk, you better go back and listen. You might have made some different decisions in the pandemic time if you had better information. And again, think about how you live in a nation where the news media doesn't want you to hear what Bill Gates said in his 2010 TED Talk. And all of us who kept playing the clip kept losing our whole YouTube channels. I lost several channels in the time of the pandemic, and it mostly all came back to keep sharing that fact about Bill Gates. You know, other people, they just won't share it anymore because they're like, well, I got to make my ad revenue. I can't make my ad revenue if my channel is gone or suspended. Anyway, El Nino is dead on what? Remember the phrase "weather control equals 201," and JFK did give a speech about weather control to the United Nations, the future of weather control. You can look it up, September 25th, 1961. JFK to the United Nations, talking about how weather control and emerging technology could make be a very helpful thing to this earth. Again, just think about how you could places having drought no longer. We're going to bring the moisture there. The psychopaths got a hold of technology. They're like, look, we can wipe out that poor neighborhood over there. You know, might even kill half of them if we're lucky, and then we can build that resort we've been planning. And all the people out there, they're like, oh, they'd never do that to. Again, are you sure? Looks like they've been doing it. Looks like they've been doing it to a lot of poor places for a long time, actually. Again, they produced a storm enough to kill a whole bunch of people in the UK on August 15th, 1952. I mean, I don't know about you, but every other piece of technology I can really think of has come a long way since 1952. Hey, don't forget Crazy Tornado Year. They're putting out the movie about tornadoes this year on the 201st day of the year. The Twisters sequel to the 90s hit. The main actor from that Twister movie, didn't they do him dirty like around the time of one of the award shows some years back? Could have been 5 years from now. Could have been longer than that, the way time flies by. Sarah Seidner, she made her name on CNN covering the Michael Brown riots. Michael Brown 201 went down right next to Jesuit town, St. Louis. And I still remember CNN helping stage manage the scene for the riots when they let buildings on fire, and they had Sarah Seidner on there on the scene, and some protester came in behind and threw a brick at her head, and it just smashed off the back of the head and didn't even phase her. Didn't even phase her. And that instantly showed that this thing that he threw at her that was supposed to look like a brick wasn't a real brick. Because I mean, if you get smashed with a brick in the back of the head, you're not going to act unfazed and just keep delivering your lines to the TV. Literally, like some kind of prop brick, some kind of like sponge material, or it's just you guys that I'm not making that up. That happened. Those were things we documented back in the early days of this research, and we're like, look how fake our news is. I didn't understand the whole 201 thing when I first started. I didn't realize the significance of 201 and Michael Brown. But I understood the significance back then of why they put out the white cop with the blonde hair and the blue eyes with the 42 on his t-shirt and the word blues. Blues equals slave equals Negro equals Rasta equals 59. Like Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year, and Motown came out in 59. And then the 42 goes with another long black code, like February's the month that equals 42, like slavery, and on and on and on. Those are the things they were talking about back then, and also just how they literally have somebody on there helping instigate a scene on TV and taking a fake brick off the head. And when I watched it, I was like, "How was that supposed to go down?" Like, unless unless she's just like, unless she just takes bricks off the back of the head like that, unfazed. She should be in UFC or something. I mean, it was insane. It's just like when the Russia-Ukraine broke out. There was some of the early morning coverage in the first scene was this reporter setting up the stage about, you might want to look away because this is really graphic, but they want you to know it's getting real over there. And then they got this old tank, and there's nothing else around. It just seems like it's out of place. And then he comes up on a body in front of the tank, and you can clearly see that it's a dummy. And he's talking about like it's a real dead person. And it's like, I mean, God, I mean, do they know that no one's watching? Just everyone's just obeying the headlines so that they get through their smartphone. Oh, they got a 2-sentence New York Times update. Fauci says put eighth mask on. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I wish I wish I was making this stuff up, but these things are all facts. This is what's been passing for the real news. And then I got people, my sister, who are still glued, still watching the TV, and then still won't listen to their own family member who's been right about everything. My sister's had like her fourth bout with COVID. I guess she got pretty sick about a month or so back. See, and it just sucks too because, it's like my mom and my sister are feuding because my mom's on the, my mom was on the right side of being awake to the supposed pandemic, but my sister was not. Just like my sister's on the wrong side of everything, literally. I mean, it's sad to say she's literally on the wrong side of everything. There might be something I don't know about that she's on the right side of, but when it comes to politics, she's always on the wrong side of everything, just believing every obvious lie, going along with every whopper of an agenda that undermines like what the soul of America is supposed to be, at least in terms of what we learned it was supposed to be about: freedom. She's a woman. She gets behind the agenda of safety. Again, giving up your rights and liberties for safety, believing every scare so you can be kept safe by the big authority. In a way, that's why I just wish my sister would listen. Part of the thing is I'm a lot younger than her, so she sees herself as my other mom, but she's just so wrong. Anyway, I'm pretty sure she's gotten all of her boosters and everything, and she's been sick a lot. And she just got really sick again recently, and my mom gave her some grief for that, and now they're not talking again. But like I said to my mom, I said, "Well, you already know how she's going to react. So if you don't want to, sometimes you just gotta. If you've been talking to somebody for 10 years and trying to get them to wake up and they're not listening, I mean, there are a lot of people in the world. Sometimes you just got to move on and say, all right, they made their choices." All right, hold on. Other things in the news, though. I got sidetracked by the Sarah Seidner. One of the most absurd things I've seen in all the years of watching and documenting news. I was just like, okay, like this. If Fox News wants to take CNN down, they should be replaying that clip all day. Sarah Seidner takes fake brick off the head at staged Michael Brown protest, because that's what it was. But then those staged protests do ignite bigger things. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to instigate behavior through their literally made for the news screen story and presentation like that was. And if you guys don't know, Michael Brown was a plastic dummy as well. And again, it used to be ample proof of that too. If you can still find the footage, you'll see that after the police ended their circle around the supposed body of Michael Brown, They stood there in a circle with all these officers so you couldn't see for hours, right? This was the provoking thing that officers would link arms and stand around a dead black child in the middle of the street. Remember, this is the provoking thing. But if you can find that footage, when it finally ends, the footage is there of them picking up the plastic dummy and loading it into the back of a police van. Okay. Bodies don't go in police vehicles, they go usually in an ambulance. Human bodies don't go. And remember, you can go to Chicago there's a museum on 47th Street, literally. We've covered this years ago. They have the lifelike replica dummy of Michael Brown on display. I bet you anything that's the same thing that was loaded into the back of that police van. That's how big of a joke our nation is, you guys. That's what people need to wake up to. And it does make me wonder about how deep the lies go and for how long the history has been exaggerated and falsified. Um, Again, we see how much stuff they tell us is going on, and it's just like, well, from what they're showing us on TV, there's not any evidence that anything's really going on. That's the report. And yeah, this police officer authority said, and this news agency reported that. But again, I'm a thinking person who hasn't seen it. I've heard a whole lot of hearsay from the authorities with almost no proof behind any of it for all of my adult life. 9/11, just such an obvious lie. Don't forget the Feds simulated 9/11 102 days before the attack with Operation Amalgam Virgo, June 1st, 2001, with Osama bin Laden's face right on the cover. Al Qaeda equals 102, like Art of War, like World War. The reflection of 201. Speaking of 201, abortion's a thing today. Before Zelensky and Biden pledged all this, U.S. taxpayer money to Ukraine, in unanimous decision, SCOTUS maintains access to abortion pill, and Clarence Thomas wrote the majority opinion. Well, remember when they overturned Roe versus Wade? There were several 201 things, right? They overturned Roe versus Wade on modern Freemasonry's birthday, June 24th, 2022. There was a ton to it, but the case that overturned it was Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, which equals 201. And again, Ketanji Brown Jackson had just become a Supreme Court justice, the first black woman on the Supreme Court. They got rid of Stephen Breyer in a 201 ritual, and they replaced him with Ketanji Brown Jackson in a 201 ritual. And then Roe versus Wade overturned it in 201 ritual. And remember what they were reporting? They were reporting that the most impacted population in the U.S. by a significant margin will be black women with the overturning of Roe versus Wade. This is going to be the most impactful for black women. And when they're talking about that, they're talking about how this will seek women to get illegal abortions, which could be a problem, could result in women going to prison for abortion. They talked about back alley abortions, how those can be very dangerous and result in the death of the woman and the baby. But this is the kind of stuff they were covering at the time. And again, it's like, okay, I mean, like these things were days apart. Ketanji Brown Jackson officially getting on the court, the first black woman, and now Dobbs, Jackson, black women. Joe Biden, again, who took office with the first black woman, Kamala, who said he was going to get a black woman on the Supreme Court. Again, just making it about race, taking office with the first black president. Joe Biden, who said on the campaign trail, "You ain't black if you don't vote for me," or however he phrased it. With regards to 201, you guys, remember where it fits in with population control. In 1968, the year of years, 4 years before, more, I guess Roe versus Wade was at the very beginning of 73. About 5 years, we can say, but from 68 to Roe versus Wade time, 4 or 5 years. The book, The Population Bomb, came out. Look up this book from 1968. It's 201 pages long. It talks about how there needs to be an agenda put into place to curb world population or we'll destroy the earth. And again, you look at 1968. It's the year coronavirus was coined. It's the year fentanyl was approved by the FDA. These are like two of the biggest killers of the 21st century on the history books. And then it's the year that 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. World Trade Center construction began in New York. The rest of the list that goes with 9/11. 9/11 and the wars out of it, another big killer on the list in the 21st century. You're looking at like the top killers in the 21st century. Of course, you got heart disease and these other health ailments and cancer. But a lot of the top killers are all things that go back to 1968, the year of the 201-page book, The Population Bomb, written by a Yale professor. And we know what 201 secret societies at Yale, old Skull and Bones. But never forget the Paul Walker movie, The Skulls, about Skull and Bones. He gets a red portion of the film, like how he died in a red portion in a weird way. But that movie came out 201 days after his birthday. Skull and Bones is related to Templars, Templar cross, and the Jesuit logo. Also, just going with this 201 abortion thing, Senate GOP blocks bill to guarantee access to in vitro fertilization. Now, remember, the Pope recently said he's against that. And I thought that was weird when the Pope said he was against that. I'm sure if I read more about it, you can see where his argument is. But the reason a lot of people get that procedure is if they can't naturally get pregnant. So if you blocked the ability to get that, it would be blocking the ability for some people to have a child outside of a miracle. I mean, they could keep trying the natural way, but some people, there's common things that problems that women have for why they can't get pregnant. And there's small medical procedures that oftentimes can remedy that, but sometimes not. Um, So yeah, anyway, you can just see that it feeds on the same thing, and it just reminds me about the headline with the Catholic Church and the Pope on this topic from not that long ago. And maybe we should actually measure. There might be something to that. But notice they had to get in both those stories on the day leaving, 201 days left in the year. And of course, the Pope is Mr. 201. And again, Pope Francis, the Jesuits from France, the last French Pope was also the 201st Pope in the history of the Church. But oh, the name of the drug, this abortion pill, its name equals 149, which is the 35th prime. Again, always big 35 rituals on Thursday. We'll be talking about 149 and 35 all throughout the NFL season on Thursday. It happens year after year, old 35 Thursday. And, a couple of weeks ago in Colorado, it was the worst hailstorm in the U.S. in 35 years. And it did create a lot of property damage because sweet lady's got two siblings there, and they both got two really busted up cars from that storm with a lot of people in that city. This Trump too small trademark ruling, it's got Trump's little hand on the front, and then it says Trump's package is too small. Small on the environment, small on civil rights, small on immigrant rights, small on LGBTQ rights, small on workers' rights, small on voting rights, small on affordable health care for all. So today the Supreme Court also ruled on this. And again, it's the day leaving 201 days left in the year in the Jesuit city, where inauguration day is the 201st day of the nation's age on 20/1. And the official title of the day, inauguration of the President of the United States equals 201. But it's political. And, since Trump began running, the thing we've talked about the most with Trump over the years is 88. Just everything's Trump. Everything with Trump is 88. That line from the T-shirt, Trump's package is too small, is 88. Just like Trump. Okay. Again, a gazillion rituals with Trump in 88 over the years. The Mar-a-Lago raid was a recent one on 88. There's been others. The thing they just did with this golf course. Oh my God. You guys remember the earthquake, the biggest one in the Northeast in forever on Trump's golf course? And it was exactly 88 weeks after the first pro tournament was played there. And that first pro tournament was won by the golfer whose birthday was April 5th, the day of the earthquake, which was a clue that the Swedish golfer was going to do well in the Masters. And he came in second. And it was the 88th Masters. And Scotty Scheffler equals 88. And he won it. And Scotty Scheffler's from right next to that golf course in New Jersey. It was a nice year with the Masters again. But yeah, it's just Trump's package is too small. It's just, I mean, this stuff's such a joke, you guys. But so you got the 88 thing going, plus the 201 thing. Keep in mind, today is Trump's last day of being 77 years old. Remember, Donald Trump, 77 matters because the flag, his birthday is the flag's birthday. The flag was established in 1777. In Gematria, United States and secret society equals 77. The nation's capital is on the 77th meridian. The world leaders are gathering for the G7 today. G's the seventh letter, so kind of the 7-7. But the Trump too small. The numbers are interesting. They seem to have a lot to do with the numbers we're looking at in the NBA Finals right now. I'll think more about that, but one of the values of Trump too small is 75. And notice they had Clarence Thomas, right, the majority opinion at age 75. And again, Clarence Thomas is about to turn 76, so he better look out. Again, Black History Month was recognized by the federal government in 76. We said how slave, Negro, blues, Rasta, they all equal 59. Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. But you run it the other way, all of those words in reverse equal 76. And again, Ephesians 6, 5 through 9. Slaves, obey your masters. The word masters also 76. OJ, again, was announced dead at age 76. 59 days after the Super Bowl as the Masters was teeing off. And clearly a biblical ritual. Barack Obama equals 76. Acts 7:6, again, about 400 years of slavery. The 44th book of the Bible. Obama number 44 with the 76 connection. It reminds us that Antonin Scalia, who joined the Supreme Court around the same time as Clarence Thomas, a little before him, he died on the 44th day of the year in the time of number 44. But then the Democrats couldn't get into justice, and then Gorsuch got installed by the numbers for Trump. And again, Neil Gorsuch equals 58, like Trump won the 58th election. Anyway. Again, it's literally nothing but jokes, and this is literally a joke. Trump too small, a play on the little hands, evolves into politics, evolves into a big Supreme Court ruling on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year. Jailed U.S. reporter Evan Gershkovich to stand trial in Russia on espionage charges. Remember, the intelligence agencies are essentially spy networks, right? And today leaves 201 days left in the year. We talked about how the words in the CIA's logo and their motto equal 201. Just even the phrase alone, Central Intelligence, is 201. And, whoops, what did I spell wrong? Central Intelligence. Or maybe, hold on, I'm tripping. I know what it is. It's National Intelligence. It's National Intelligence is 201. That's what it is. And also, June 13th, this is the day in history the nation set up, I forget what the official term is, but essentially it's this propaganda department. God, I can't think of I think the Pentagon Papers came out on this day in history, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if that's true. I know the thing about the War Department is correct. It's just I can't think of the name of it. Hold on. The New York Times, the Jesuit-controlled New York Times, began publishing excerpts of the Pentagon Papers on June 13th, 71. This had to do with the Vietnam War. And remember, MLK got smoked in a 201 ritual going against the Vietnam War. The Jesuit order equals 201 and 84. Vietnam has that 84 connection, like United States of America. Yeah, so today's the 53rd anniversary of the New York Times beginning publishing the Vietnam Pentagon Papers. Let me see. June 13th, U.S. military. Propaganda is not the right word. Let me just see if just searching these words will. That's it. The Office of War Information was established on this day in history. The Office of War Information. The theater of war. The United States Office of War Information was a United States government agency created during World War II. It operated from June of 1942 until September of 1945. I'm sure it ended. Through radio broadcasts, newspapers, posters, photographs, films, and other forms of media, The OWI was the connection between the battlefront and civilian communities. The office also established several overseas branches, which launched a large scale information and propaganda campaign abroad. Okay. It was a propaganda department. From 42 to 45, the OWI revised or discarded any film scripts reviewed by them that portrayed the United States in a negative light, including anti war material. Established June 13th, 42. It's 82 years old today. But yeah, now here we are on this day, and the news media is applauding us for doing our heroic part to pay the bills of Ukraine for the next decade. It's like, who just goes along with this? Oh my! Here, I want to write out Central Intelligence Agency real quick. Central Intelligence Agency. Again, you add the United States of America part on it equals 201. But Central Intelligence Agency, you see how it has that 135? Now, remember, the Illuminati was founded by a Jesuit in Bavaria, and Bavaria also has the 135. Illuminati and Jesuit have the 201 connection. The CIA has the 201 and 135 connection, how it all comes together. This year would have been the 135th birthday of Hitler. And again, they approved all that money for Russia and Ukraine on the 135th birthday of Hitler. And then Trump ends up, or not Trump, but Biden ends up signing off on it on the 201st day of the war. We talked about that. The Jesuit Order 201 created to stop the 95 Theses. And again, the Jesuits are recognized by the Roman Catholic Church on September 27th, the day leaving 95 days left in the year. But again, doesn't it all start to just make way too much sense? And let's not forget the CIA was established in 47, that big government authority number that connects with Ukraine, and what we were saying earlier about Biden and his legacy with Ukraine and sending them all this money on behalf of the American people under the Jesuit Masonic dictatorship, where every day is a number ritual and everyone's been trained so that they're blind to see it. But yeah, about Hitler and doing it with Hitler. Again, if you look up Hitler's birth certificate, you will see that his first name, Adolphus, is spelled just like that. Adolphus. Adolphus. And his name is Adolphus Hitler. And that's, whoops, I spelled it with a G. Adolphus Hitler, 201. And that same cipher, State of Israel. Again, 201. Netanyahu leaves Israel on this date 3 years ago, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. He returns on December 29th, 1229, the 201st prime. Plus, that was Albert Pike's birthday anniversary, who wrote the letter about 3 world wars, which was published on August 15th, 1871, the Jesuit order's birthday. Again, it was addressed to Mazzini, which is the second leader of the Illuminati. Again, it really does all just fit together like a glove. And remember where the O.J. Simpson crime scene was found on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. Here we're on that anniversary today as well. It was all wrapped up with Jesuit-educated Johnny Cochran when he said on September 27th, the big Jesuit recognition anniversary, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Well, that we've reverse engineered the whole thing, and now we got the glove fitting so well on the Jesuits. It's obvious who's been doing exactly this to us all this time. Yeah, you guys, as I've been experimenting with the children's book, and just keeping things simple, I've been working on this 201 book for a while. I've also been working on a simple 201 book that's very short and efficient. And literally what I'm trying to do is, in a typical book size, just like my last book, Number Games, same type of book, those size pages. In a page, I'm just trying to get in like one hard lesson about a 201 It could be like the 201s of Tom Brady's life, the 201s of Ukraine, the 201 of the Alec Baldwin shooting of the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust right before Russia, Ukraine. Let's not forget that either. Yeah. When Alec Baldwin smoked the Ukrainian woman, it was 201 days after his birthday. And you see how the 150's up here as well? State of Israel's 150. Illuminati is also 150. And again, they said Alec Baldwin shot that woman at 1:50 p.m. local time, and the sun, which illuminates the world, is 150 million kilometers away on average. And the model agreed to in the century of the Jesuits, the 16th century, heliocentrism, it has that 150-201 connection. Again, it all comes back to light. In Hebrew, 201 represents light. The number goes with light is knowledge. The phrase knowledge is power in English equals 201. It's like right in front of our face, just this hidden form of knowledge, an old world practice that almost no one's learned is alive and well in English. And again, I got a hint about it from the brief thing Manly P. Hall wrote in his book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And then had to put the information to the test to see if there was something to it. Exactly what he encourages the reader to do. I'm going to look more at the Evan Gershkovich story in a moment, but I wanted to point out something. Again, Bill Maher on Jesuit-ran HBO. Yes, HBO was founded by a Jesuit. They love their Jesuit rituals over at HBO, as we're documenting all the time. Never forget The Sopranos came out in 99. Sopranos equals 99 in Gematria, and Tony Soprano dropped dead in 99 days after Pope Francis became the first Jesuit pope. Can't get more gangster than the Jesuits. Not even the New Jersey mob, where Trump has his casinos. The whole January 6th thing too, man. For everyone who doesn't know about January 6th and George Floyd and 201, my little short book that I'm doing right now, I find that by keeping myself to not being able to write more than a page about something, it's a helpful limit for me. I do feel like I'm leaving a lot out, but at the same time, as I read through what I got so far, I'm like, okay, this could work. These are all pretty just undeniable. But yeah, I just gotta. By the time I'm done, I'll figure out exactly what the best flow and order is to put it in. Probably just chronologically for the most part. But again, George Floyd was a massive 201 ritual, and then January 6th was a massive 201 ritual on the back of it. And once you start to realize what they've done, you start to see how all of the things they use to shape our minds and the policies and how it's all been cooked up. But yeah, coming back to Bill Maher. And Bill Maher is the perfect. When you realize how big Bill Maher's name is on HBO and how he's had real time for all these years since he lost Politically Incorrect by the Numbers. Remember, he went from regular TV to very well paid HBO cable TV exactly 33 weeks later with real time, after he lost his show over the 9/11 controversy, supposedly. But he's half Catholic, half Jewish, and that's kind of what the Jesuits are. The Jesuits began as the Catholic-Jewish alliance. That's why a lot of what they do is based in Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, which is this whole letters and numbers thing. Let's not forget Jewish mysticism equals 201. But it's where the whole idea of light and 201 comes from, this Jewish mysticism, the old original tradition, the Hebrew. But Bill Maher, he said after January 6th in one of his real-time broadcasts, he said, this is the 93 World Trade Center bombing, and the next election is going to be 9/11. And again, we've talked about this in the past, but I just want to bring it up one more time. The winner of this election will take office with the 119th Congress, 119, right? A lot of the world writes September 11th, 11/9. Donald Trump was associated with the events of 9/11, even promoted conspiracy theories at the time of 9/11, if you want to go back and look. Then the election was called for him on November 9th, 119. He did the ad talking to Digital Sheep before that, wearing the same suit and tie he wore for selection night. Sheeps with 11 and 9s on the side. The name Donald in Jewish gematria equals 119. Francis equals 119, like Vatican, but also like Underwood. Francis Underwood is the president in the hit show House of Cards. House of Cards was a hit show about the presidency when Trump was running for president and won the first time. And Trump and cards Trump cards are a thing. And again, in tarot, where Trump cards come from, there are 78 cards in the tarot deck. Trump is about to turn 78 years old. And not only does Donald equal 119, but again, so does tarot cards. And remember, there's been even a documentary made about one of the people who jumped from the tower on the 11th of September, how the way they fell looked like the hangman card in tarot cards. If you're not aware of that, look that up. That's a widely discussed thing all across the world. But and tarot alone is 74, which is a very special number. Trump, when he left office, he was 74 years old when supposedly Biden beat him. But yeah, I was thinking about how the next Congress is 119. And where did it go? You know, in light of how we associate that number with 9/11 and the destruction of buildings, the explosions, remember, November 5th, the day of the election, is the day in history that the Jesuits tried to blow up British Parliament with fireworks. Yeah. Yeah. Realizing that, I think that's the real reason we set off fireworks on July 4th. I think it's a little Jesuit tribute. They're like, we definitely beat the Protestants. We beat this nation over here trying to be so Protestant, trying to escape Big Brother, the Catholic Church in Europe. And again, as this nation started to take hold, and maybe some of the founders are the reasons we still have an ounce of liberty. But again, there's a reason why at the beginning of the country they talked about how we could be taken over by tyranny, and that's why we have the right to protect ourselves from tyranny, and that's why we get a First Amendment and a right to have weapons on par with the government in case tyranny takes hold. And from that point on, to as time went on, slowly the capital moved from Philadelphia to where the Jesuits set up camp in DC, and then slowly inauguration day was moved to January 20th. The date can be written 20/1, again the 201st day of the nation's age. So it's interesting how it all comes. And by the way, not only was Trump called president-elect on November 9th, but again, how many electoral votes did he have at the time that the election was called for him? He had 248. Like President Donald Trump equals 248. Like his mugshot in Atlanta on 24/8. Like his big trial in the Manhattan criminal court, which equals 248, just like President Donald Trump. And again, on the Illuminati's 248th birthday, which was this year, May 1st, 2024, Trump got a break from court that day and got allowed to campaign. And then the country is about to turn 248 years old on July 4th, meaning the election will be while the country's 248. So they gave us the 248, 119 on the day that Trump accepted the presidency. It was 248, 119. It's kind of the same thing with the Congress count and the age of the country. And again, that's why these people are clever and they get just the right characters for the script. And Donald Trump has the flag's birthday. And again, this election year begins with the Francis Scott Key. Here, you guys, to understand how scripted things are, the Tom Brady thing. Sorry, I haven't even got to the Tom Brady thing. Of course, Tom Brady took over after 9/11 and the Patriot Act. But yesterday, the day that Jerry West died by the numbers, Brady got inducted in the Patriots Hall of Fame. And did you see that the Red Sox won yesterday 8-6 over Philadelphia? 8-6 over Philadelphia. Big win for Boston. Remember, everything was 86 yesterday. Mercury equals 86. Wednesday's named after Mercury. Jerry West at 86. Merrick Garland, the 86th Attorney General. The name Castro equals 86, going with the ritual they had in Cuba. But Boston beats Philly 8-6 on the day that Brady gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's 52 days from Brady's upcoming birthday, the day he got inducted in. Recall, he lost Super Bowl 52 to Philadelphia, Boston, Philly. That was in Minnesota, which equals 52, which is the 612 area code. And yesterday, the first game on the MLB slate was the Twins in the 612 area code, dominating their game 17-9, a bit like 179, the 41st prime on number 41's birthday anniversary. And remember, number 41's son was the president when Brady took over the NFL. And he became the 43rd president, his son, in Florida, where his brother was the 43rd governor, and Yale and football equal 43. And then Brady went down to Florida at age 43 and won another Super Bowl. But anyway, coming back to it being 52 days before Brady's birthday and the Super Bowl 50 thing with Philly and Boston. And again, Boston winning 8-6, if you guys recall. So out of all the years that I've called Super Bowls, only one year did I get the outcome right, but it was one of our best seasons ever. In week 3 that year, we saw why it was going to be Eagles versus Patriots in the Super Bowl. And it was all based on what Donald Trump did on September 23rd, 23/9, like the flag sewn at 239 Arch Street in Philly. Trump coming into the presidential office while the flag was 239 years old. That's the 52nd prime number going with Cyril 52. There was a lot to it, but we just dominated that year because we were so locked into the ritual. But I was very torn on who would win the Super Bowl, the Patriots with the flag on the helmet or Philly, the home of the flag. And what I said is, I said I was leaning more towards the Patriots. So it's why it's the year I got it wrong. But I knew there was a real chance for Philly. And I said, if I'm wrong, if Philly wins, you're going to see Zach Ertz, number 86, score the winning touchdown 86 days after his birthday because the national anthem was adopted 86 years before this season. So that happened. Zach Ertz and the Eagles won the game, and Zach Ertz did score the winning touchdown. And I was like, see, it just made too much sense. Now, remember, you guys, who wrote the national anthem? Francis Scott Key. What day did his bridge come down this year? On the 86th day of the leap year, March 26th. Key Bridge in Gematria equals 86. Remember, Nancy Pelosi shook hands with the leader of Singapore on Francis Scott Key's birthday 86 weeks and a day before the bridge came down. Or it might have been more than a couple days, but it was like 86 weeks and I don't know, maybe it might have been a day later. I can't remember. It was 86 weeks and a day or two later. It doesn't matter. 86th day of the year, 86 weeks after shaking hands with the leader of Singapore. Remember, it was a Singaporean ship that took the bridge down. But 86 had to do with Francis Scott Key. 86, he goes with the national anthem, the Brady ritual, all the 86s yesterday. And now for them to do this yesterday and then 86. I mean, come on, you guys. Do you follow what I'm saying? What is getting 86th right now? We're getting 86th right now. A lot of people aren't here that were here 4 years ago. Young people. It can get a lot worse. And the reason a lot of people aren't here is because they didn't spend any of their time in life trying to figure out what was really going on in the 21st century with the horrific lies and the needless wars and the total joke elections and the total mockery of the rigged sports games. It's like nobody opened their eyes and saw through the bullshit and tried to figure out what's going on to help out their own existence. I started to do that when I was 18 years old, the day 9/11 happened. Really, I was doing it before that, but 9/11 was a major wake-up call for me. 9/11 was a life-changing day for me. I ended up spending more time trying to figure out what's going on in the country than continue to advance myself in education. I still went through college and did fine, but that was the whole 9/11 moment is the reason I didn't fulfill my life plan of becoming a lawyer. That's what I was always going to do when I was younger. And I still went to school and grad school and ended up teaching. And I just gave up on the whole system. I just decided going into law, I wasn't going to be able to do anything if obviously this is the way the world was. It's just like, I don't know what to do about this world, man. Figure out how to teach some young ones to see through it. So anyway, my life since I was 18 has been dedicated a lot of time to trying to wake people up to the obvious lies and the agendas and how bad this stuff can get. And I'm glad. I mean, it hasn't always been the most fun experience, but I feel like I gave a lot of my family members good advice in recent years in a serious time that we took serious advantage of by understanding what was up. And some people who are still ticking, man, I feel bad. How my sister's been so sick a bunch of times. And again, I think a lot of people have compromised their immune systems. They might still be here, but they've taken time off. It remains to be seen how much. And again, I mean, it was all clearly laid. Bill Gates said it so clearly in his 2010 TED Talk. We got to reduce population, and we can do it if we do a good job with. You got to figure out what the next word is. It'll blow you away. It'll remind you of that big space needle across the street from his Jab Foundation that no longer will have the name Melinda by the numbers. Melinda from a family of Jesuit priests, Melinda Gates. Same birthday as the Jesuit order. It's just amazing how it all comes together. But yeah, on the topic of Tom Brady, since it's the day leaving 201 days left in the year, don't forget, he's born 201 years after the country and the Illuminati in 1977. ESPN wrote the article when he got his 201st career win, The Road to 201. ESPN made a big deal about his 201st career win, not his 200th. And 201 was over the Rams, who he won his first Super Bowl against. Rams in Jewish gematria equals 201. Remember, the Rams won the Super Bowl right before the 201 war popped off in Israel. That was the 102nd NFL season where the Rams recently won. The Rams, the God of War. Art of War 102. Sean McVay with the blue and gold team like the colors of Ukraine with the Ukrainian fiance. Sean McVay, he was showing off his Ukrainian fiance after winning the Super Bowl, and then just days later, war's breaking out in Ukraine. And then you got Sean McVay and his fiance weighing in about how Americans should feel about it. Super Bowl 56. The Pope's pleading with Putin supposedly on the 56th day of the year, the day after the war officially began. And don't forget, the war in Russia-Ukraine began on February 24th, which is the day in history the Jesuits implemented the Gregorian calendar named after the Pope. The one that says today, the day I'm doing this video, is June 13th, 2024. But yeah, Tom Brady in 201. His last Super Bowl, 201 passing yards in the box score. His ex-wife, Giselle, born on the 201st day of the year. And I'm sure other things I'm forgetting, but yeah, they retired it yesterday. It's still making the rounds today, talking about it in the news. Yesterday matters too, because yesterday leaves 202 days left in the year. Skull and Bones has the 201 and the 202 connection. American football is credited to Walter Camp, who is a member of Skull and Bones. Bush was president when Brady, inherited the throne. Bush was in Skull and Bones. And let's not forget, Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones in 68, the year of years where all the plans went into motion. 911, World Trade Centers, jumbo jetliners from Washington State, Boeing. The Jets won their only Super Bowl in the 68 season. Drew Bledsoe was from Washington State. Anyway, yeah, this Tom Brady thing just takes me right back to Super Bowl 52 and just what I've been saying, how all of these games and the rig history are part of an ongoing story that pays tribute to the past, but is also about the future. At the time of Super Bowl 52, we were saying how all the 86s pointed to the past. Then it's 2024. And now it's Francis Scott Key again, and it's the 86th day of the year, and his bridge came down. So, and again, it's a day like today where I'm like, see, this is why I don't finish my 201 book. There's always too many new good 201s to add. It's just, but as I write the short page by page book, I'm like, okay, this will just be enough examples, and then people will be able to follow the new 201s as they come forever and ever on. I just know it has to be short, efficient, and well written and interesting, not just like boring and like, oh, this is just a number jam log. It's again, you guys, they say the third one's the charm, right? And maybe that phrase has been screwing me up because I'm just trying to make it better than I can make it. And so many years have gone by why I have not finished this because I can't have another book severely disappoint my expectations. I thought my last book was going to change the world, and it might have changed the world for some people. Shout out to all the ones who got it, but it definitely didn't change the world, man. The agenda is worse than it's ever been. So. By the way, here's just Joe Biden's birthday, November 20, 1942, to the day Hawaii became a state, 201 months later. Again, he met with Putin on Pearl Harbor Day, which goes with Hawaii, 201 days after the first Jesuit nation year began. He couldn't get that done with Putin in the ongoing his story. So now here we are in the day, leaving 201 days left in the year, pledging a whole bunch of money to Ukraine. So. And for people who research bigger numbers, there are bigger numbers in gematria. Maybe there's something to 874. 874 weeks. Maybe there's something to that. But the 201 sure stands out. And don't forget, Maui has the 64 and the 44. And Joe Biden has the 64 and the 44. And remember, when Joe Biden showed up in Maui last year after it burned down as the wingman to number 44, he was elected 44 years after the civil rights of 64. Again, Joe Biden showed up in Hawaii on the state's 64th birthday. Again, he waited 13 days after the fire began on August 8th, showed up on August 21st. And what overthrew Hawaii once upon a time? A rebellious committee within the U.S. called the Committee of 13. That's how it goes down in his storybook. They took it for national security. They had to protect themselves from the Asian man. Go back and listen to like what Teddy Roosevelt was saying back then about how Hawaii, had to be secured, had to be remain as a U.S. territory. Teddy Roosevelt literally gave a speech about how important it was for the U.S. to hang on to Hawaii because he said if the U.S. does not keep Hawaii, the white man will fall. Go back and look up these things. That might have not have been the exact phrasing, but that was the overall theme. That if we don't hang on to the strategic importance, like Asia's going to overrun the world, there'll be no more white man. Be nobody. So again, just that's why you could frame so many things from so many different political periods and make them seem like really wrong in the modern time. And you just see how this news can form any story out of anything, really. They don't even need any real facts. They can just put a dummy in front of a tank on a set of a Hollywood scene and tell you they're in Ukraine and to send some dollars on the 1-800 number below. Because pretty soon it'll be your tax money mandated if we don't get enough donations today. So, hold on. Let me look up this Evan Gershkovich thing and see if I can get a birthday on this guy. See if there's or even his story. I forget what the story is with this guy. He's 32, like the number of sun rays on the Jesuit logo. Oh, he's born in 91 when the Soviet Union broke up. I'm sure that's part of the joke. It says, Evan Gershkovich is an American journalist and reporter at the Wall Street Journal covering Russia. He was detained by Russia's Federal Security Service on charges of espionage in March 2023, making the first time a journalist working for an American outlet had been arrested on charges of spying in Russia since the Cold War. The White House and media advocacy groups have condemned the arrest. Remember the perfect ritual with Brittany Griner? In light of how perfect the ritual was with Brittany Griner, it can tell us how real it was. And let's not forget there was a certain day where Brittany Griner was supposed to be in the custody of Russian troops, and they were showing that on TV. But the problem was the Russian troops who were escorting her had Ukrainian flag patches on their arm. Again, look these things up because they're facts. So it's like, wait a minute, is she in Ukraine? They're telling us she's in Russia, but she's in Ukraine. And then she comes back to the States and just like the absolute most perfect number ritual. Shout out to Kayla Decode Talker, who went out to Phoenix to try and educate the locals about it. But he's from Princeton, where the Ivy League schools are. October 26th is the day, leaving 66 days left in the year. Here, let me just see so I don't do silly math. It's 137 weeks and days since. Or hold on, what am I doing? Never mind. Disregard what I just said. It's 231 days since his last birthday. 33 weeks on the nose. Remember, 231 has a relationship with 201. Ignatius Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits. Oh boy, doing it again. Ignatius. It's funny. When I type with two hands, I don't need to look at a keyboard, but when I type with one hand, I have to look because it's like your motor memory is different. At least how it works for my brain. Ignatius Loyola, 231. 201. And then the just the 33, just one of those powerful magical numbers that just shows up in high ritual all the time. Evan Gershkovich, also 77. Again, there's this 77 theme today. Trump's last day being 77. The G7. Okay. Does it say what day he was jailed? March 29th, the 88th day of the year. Uh, what is it? Russia's 88? No, Russia's 87. Is it Russian is 88 and Vladimir, or is it Putin? Vladimir, it must be Putin. Or hold on, am I spelling it wrong? Vladimir Putin's. I know Putin has some 88 connection. Vladimir. Hmm. Something is off. I don't know, unless I'm having some kind of lapse, but I swear there's something about Putin in 88. I'm forgetting it right now. But I do see that he was arrested on the 88th day of the year. And who knows, maybe this is just a long running narrative to set up a feel good story for Trump, who is Mr. 88. Says on March 29, 2023, while Gerskovich was on assignment in Yekaterinburg, probably saying that wrong, the counterintelligence department of the Federal Security Service detained him for having information on a Russian defense enterprise, according to U.S. officials. Gershkovich's driver dropped him off at a steakhouse at 4 p.m., and 2 hours later, his phone was turned off. The Wall Street Journal hired a lawyer to find him at the FSB's headquarters, but couldn't locate him. The Kremlin confirmed his arrest hours later. Dmitry Peskov, Russian President Vladimir Putin's press secretary, said that he was caught red-handed but could not provide further details. He was transferred to Moscow, where he was formally arrested by a district court until May 29th. He was then taken to the Fortovo prison, a holding facility used by the Soviet Union to detain Soviet dissidents. He was formally charged on April 7th. There's that 4-7. United States Ambassador to Russia, Lynn M. Tracy, met with Gershkovich on April 17th, 17-4, it's old New World Order, and wrote that he is in good health and remains strong. For whatever reason, they don't use the second part of the year, so I'm guessing all of those dates were in 2023. Here, let's see if that's right. April 7th. Let's see what pulls up. Yeah, it was 2023. April 7th. Remember, judging gavels 47, like government obey authority. The CIA established in 47. Is there really a difference between Russia and the US? Other than a little bit different government forms and a little bit different styles of propaganda. Look at that, you guys. It's 433 days later, the 84th prime. Wasn't I just talking about that big time yesterday with how Castro died at 433 days after shaking hands with the Pope? And then his son, Castro's son, died 433 days later. Getting the 84th prime number, another big Jesuit number. 84 and 201, too. You know, the Jesuit order. 84, 201. Pairing comes together a lot. Obama's wingman with the 8-4 birthday. Or Obama's got the 8-4 birthday. Joe Biden's wingman. And then just the whole Cold War thing too, right? And there's Castro yesterday. It's crazy. It's never ending. Um, the date that he got arrested had 55 numerology. Gerskovich has that 55. And what did I just see? Putin has the 55. It's gonna bother me about the 88 with Putin. I know there's something, and I'm like, what am I forgetting? Um, Let me just see something real quick. If I just search Putin in 88. Remember the Alexei Navalny death at age 47 on the 47th day of the year, suspectedly poisoned by Putin? It just, again, I mean, I got this in arm's reach all the time. What is 47? Just day after day. What is 47? That was 133 days after Putin's birthday. President's got that 47 and 133. I saw Tachi at the beginning of the chat pointing out the 133 homer ritual going with George Herbert Walker Bush's birthday yesterday in the MLB. Nicely done. His wife taking over is 47 years old. She's got that 24/7 birthday. That's how old the Illuminati in the United States were at the time, 247. But hold on, that didn't pull up any 88s. How do I search for 88? I didn't see any 88 in this post. The search is broken. Here, let me try my old website real quick. I probably would have documented it years ago if Putin does have an 88 connection. Unless my mind is just going bad and it's just the Russian thing. I don't know how this is the first thing that comes up. Didn't I just search Putin in 88? Putin. Trump and Putin meeting on July 7th, 2017. On 7/7, right? Today's the last day of Trump being 77 years old. You know, Trump's on the verge of coming back. I mean, that could be the narrative too. Biden does all these things for Ukraine, and then Trump comes back in and says, sorry, all those are out the window. We'll see how they play it. I'm not sure that's how it's going to go down, though. But yeah, that is funny that it was back on 7/7. Moscow, Vladimir. Maybe I was spelling Vladimir the wrong way. Maybe that's what I was doing wrong. The way he actually spells it. Okay, the way Vladimir Putin actually spells it's 88. I was spelling it with an A. That's why I was getting the wrong thing. My bad. The actual spelling is 88. Vladimir. 56. Remember, the Pope met with him on the 56th day of the year after the war began, February 25th, 2022. That 128 had a lot to do with the Obama movie, Leave the World Behind, and the bridge collapse in Baltimore. Moscow's got the 88. Russians got the 88. Vladimir and Trump. Here's some old stuff for Putin. Deadly shooting in Moscow while Putin gives speech on Security Services Day. See, they're doing the same type of stuff over there they do over here, just like how we both had the 10-4 alerts on 10-4. This ritual was 74 days, just like how in the Masonic City, D.C., so much 74. Starting with George Washington. Starting with the nation's birthday, 7/4, with Independence Day, 74. But 74 days after Putin's birthday was this ritual once upon a time back in 2019. The phrase active shooter, killing on a holiday. Remember what they did this year? That big skull and bones ritual at the Opera House in Russia on March 22nd, old 322. Happened at 1740 local time or 1440 GMT. Jesuit order is 144, New World order is 174. 540 local time too. Jesuit order the small way is 54. Security Services Day 119. Isn't it funny how it's just the same numbers over and over? Security Services Day 88, like Moscow, like Vladimir. Had 43 date numerology as well. Nuclear mystery in Russia's far north, August 8th, 2019 news. 88, right? It happened in the town of Sarov, 60 days from Putin's birthday. Russian city of Sarov. 60th election upcoming. It just makes you wonder how all these stories over time are all part of a story moving forward. The most damaging findings from the Russian hacking report. Ah, okay. I knew I wasn't tripping about the Putin 88 thing. Just couldn't remember how to spell Vladimir. This quote, that's weird. This quote on Fox is from Joe Biden's birthday, November 20th, 2016. Says, just as Bill Clinton wasn't black, but he was called America's first black president, I believe Donald Trump should be called America's first Jewish president. Remember, Trump equals 88 like Jewish. Sheldon Adelson, his biggest backer. He died by the numbers recently. Then his wife took over the Mavericks just in time for this finals where they got to have game 4, fudge the date. So it's on Trump's 78th birthday for the 78th season, going with the 78 tarot cards in the deck. Trump cards. Oh, yeah. Manafort also had a bunch of 88 rituals. Who remembers Paul Manafort? Michael Flynn, all these characters of the past. They don't need them on the world stage anymore. Got new characters stepping up to the plate. Marjorie Taylor Greene's filling in a lot of the time. Okay. And just to address one other thing, you guys know the people that I call or what do I call them? Do I call them Sweden? Where do they call from? You know the European people that used to call in years ago, and they had a great observation. Like in the time of the pandemic, they were the first ones who called in about Elvis getting the jab for polio in '56 on Bill Gates's birthday, his first birthday. On Billy Goat's first birthday, Elvis was getting the jab. And let's not forget Elvis's girlfriend that he was with when she died. Her name equals 201. Let's not forget that Elvis recorded for Sun Record Studios and the Jesuit logos, the sun. Catholic Church began worshiping the sun. Heliocentrism 201, which says the sun's at the center of it all. The Holy Bible, which has the story of the Son of God. The Holy Bible 201. But yeah, this caller, they had that great contribution, and then months later, all of a sudden, they were like trying to start beef about how we're not bringing enough attention to their work, and we're like, we've been praising your work. Your Elvis find was awesome. So anyway, this person every now and then will put a video on YouTube, and usually they have to take some shot at me in it, and then they're like, my video should be doing way better. It's like, well, do a better job of promoting your videos. So I want to read what they have because I don't know what song they're referring to, but their video doesn't show. And this is also kind of the way their work is. Like they only want to tell you half the story. Anyway, the point is this person's a weirdo is the point I'm trying to make. They're a weirdo, but they've had good finds in the past. And they don't speak English as a first language, so don't judge the way they write in English. But this is the problem with their work. And then they blame me. And it's like, well, just how about call into the show like you used to, or leave a helpful comment instead of being a weirdo. But yeah, if anyone wants to find this out, I bet this is interesting if it is true. Now, sometimes they've written things and I've looked into it and it also didn't seem to add up. But anyway, they write here. They write, how could it have been any different? On the day of Joe Biden's inauguration, a song is chosen whose video begins with a bridge. Now, remember, they chose 46 songs for the Joe Biden inauguration. We covered this at the time. And the big hit song that they had for the main thing was the New Radicals song, You Get What You Get. And we were laughing at the time about how that was the one getting all the attention by the New Radicals. But New Radicals has that 46 connection. Joe Biden elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. Parallels to JFK, killed at 46. Beau Biden gone at 46. Catholic equals 46. 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. It's all biblical. Anyway, he says, on the day of Joe Biden's inauguration, a song is chosen whose video begins with a bridge. So now, I mean, there's so many songs that were chosen. So you're going to have to go through and look at all 46 songs and see if they all have music videos and which one begins with a bridge. This bridge was opened on the very same day the new president celebrates his birthday. interestingly, the video was released over 10 years before Biden's inauguration. Do you guys see like the way of doing information like this, how this doesn't appeal to people? It's already hard enough when you're showing them everything they can verify. If you're leaving it like this with a big cliffhanger and not identifying what video, what song, what bridge. I suppose you could look up what bridges opened on November 20th, and then what music video is this bridge in history. If you can get the answers to that, you could see, is that song part of Joe Biden's inauguration list? But again, this is just a dumb way to go about things too. If you're trying to get information out and wake people up, you should say, like, right at the beginning, this song blank by this band blank with this music video from this date was, that would be helpful, because we get the whole Joe Biden bridge collapse thing. And see, the thing about a weirdo like this person is they're probably watching my video on the bridge collapse. And they're getting inspired, and then they're doing more research, and they find this. And then this is how they always come about. They're like, how come you're not getting out what I found out about the bridge too? And I'm like, well, what did you find? I don't know. And they're like, well, haven't you looked at my video? And then you look at their video. This is exactly how their comment is. This is what they left for me. How come you're not covering the music video that I'm talking about? And then this is their clip. I mean, here's the whole video. Apparently they've worked on a Gematria book too. So very cool. You can check out their channels, 7154. They have done some good work. They've also done some questionable work, and they're definitely a weirdo. But again, when you ask me why haven't I covered it, and then I come to your video and the show, I still don't know what music video to talk about. I can do more research, but also I have limited time. I'm trying to keep up with everything every day. So yeah, this is how to be a weirdo and uncooperative and create unnecessary division and feuds. But hey, pretty cool artwork too. I'll give credit where it's due. It's just, you represent what's wrong with the world. Like, anyway, yeah. If you want to check out 7154, they do interesting work, but a lot of times you'll be like, okay, and the music video was what? So. Okay. I think we're all caught up there. And inside Trump's gripe-filled meeting with House GOP. Oh yeah, Trump met Mitch McConnell today for the first time since January 6th. And remember, January 6th, the Confederate flag flew. Confederate equals 201, and it flew exactly 201 days after June 19th, when the only Confederate statue in D.C. was torn down in the George Floyd riots. And remember, George Perry Floyd equals 201, his full name. And there were a lot of 201s in George Floyd. And it was compared to Michael Brown, which is another 201. But George Floyd was compared to a Gematria's killing in Paris, France, the home of the Jesuits, which happened on the 201st day of the year, July 19th, 2016, the 201st day of the leap year, 201 weeks before George Floyd's Memorial Day killing, May 25th, 2020. Massive 201 ritual. January 6th compared to George Floyd riots, all 201s, all political divisiveness. And now here we are with another January 6th, 201. If you read the story, first time they've met since January 6th. Remember, Mitch McConnell's wife stepped down from her position in the federal government in protest to January 6th. She said she didn't want anything to do with the Trump federal government. And remember also what happened to Mitch McConnell's family member recently. What was it? His wife's daughter or wife's sister? But her car ended up in the lake with her in it. We covered all that back then. It was by the numbers. I want to say it was around the time of the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Apple's stock must have skyrocketed with the NVIDIA partnership. NVIDIA had just passed Apple, right, in terms of the most value. And now days later, NVIDIA had passed Apple, and both NVIDIA and Apple were still behind Microsoft. But now it's just days later after this Apple-NVIDIA merger, and now they've surpassed Microsoft. So interesting how that happened. They collaborate, and then they leapfrog them. It says the iPhone maker's comeback comes just a few weeks after NVIDIA on June 5th, like 5-6, like 56. Remember, 56 and 201. Today's the day leaving 201 days left in the year. In English, light equals 56. In Hebrew, light is 201. 56 days after event 201, the supposed first case of the cooties, when the official name of the cooties was 56, and everything about that pandemic was 56, after the event 201 simulation. As big tech took over and Apple and Google partnered with the government to keep surveillance over America. And now AI is helping keep surveillance in a big way. That's the thing. You put the cameras everywhere, got the AI flowing through the web. It's keeping tabs on everything. It's manipulating everything. Okay. When people write in caps like this, again, when you write in caps, no one's going to take you seriously, especially when you start, geez, Zach, how about talking about communism began in France? Again, you follow the communist agenda, it just ties right in with those old pesky Jesuits. So we have talked about it. Learn to not talk in caps, learn to pay attention. Then you wouldn't leave dumb comments asking about things that we've made the point on several times. And again, I mean, in what way you start to look at all these governments, there's just a fine line between all of them. Communism is the government controlling the system. So, they're controlling the flow of resources. I mean, you start to look at it, it's like, isn't that what's going on in the U.S.? Like we put a bunch of money into agriculture, but then the government decides to spend all that money on sugar and high fructose corn syrup, so we can have all this preserved crap on the shelf. And then it's like, well, they know that stuff makes people sick, but it seems like they're doing that on purpose because the most profitable section of every grocery store is the pharmacy, and everyone's on the drugs from eating all the processed crap and the too much sugar and the high fructose corn syrup. And it looks like, again, the government is making these controlled choices, and they're also doing it for a fascist agenda. So it's like we have like this hybrid communist fascist system. Where there's this illusion that we have any choice. You get to choose between this old man or this old man. This one has felony charges. This one's son has felony charges, and some other stuff that's looks corrupt and shady between them. These aren't real choices. This is a joke. So, oh, hold on. The person that I call Sweden is actually calling in. So see. Hey, you're out there watching right now. Hey, since you did the post, do you want to answer the question? What music video and song are we talking about?
Well, first and foremost, the things that you're saying are false because it's not. We have never actually posted videos before.
Okay. I'm not even going to listen to them, you guys, because they have posted videos before. And also, the thing about them is they're a two-part system. There's one woman and one man. They're a couple. They work together. And they're like, I'm not going to just let them come on and lie. I mean, if she's not aware that her man has made videos attacking me, then they're full of shit. And again, I just want them to answer the question. Okay, so listen, I'm not going to play the game, and I'm not going to listen here to your lies because that was just a blatant lie. Instead, can you just answer the question of what is the music video so we can look more into it?
Well, it's a 238-page book, right? It's a book with 238 pages. So you saying that we don't explain things, it's just not real information because it's a whole book.
Do you want to answer the question, which is not in the video? And by the way, you sent that to me why I haven't covered the music video, and then I watched the thing this morning, and I find that my time's sort of wasted because it doesn't answer the question.
That's not true. Stop with the lies.
Okay, so where does it say what the music video is in the video you sent me?
I wrote a book, and I asked you to promote it since 3 years, and you're ignoring the information for the community since day one.
Where do you and I correspond?
No.
All right. You see what it's like with them? They just can't answer the question. Okay? No. And again, those people are weirdos. Like, I was nothing but nice to them. I promoted their page and everything, and then they just start attacking for no reason. It's like, well, this is weird. Promoting them, saying they did a good job with the Elvis find. And then just ever since then, like 2 months later, just nothing but attacks the whole time. And just weirdo stuff, like how she just said we haven't posted any videos. They've done like 10 weirdo videos over the last 4 years. Trust me, I know because they send them to me. And you see it's the woman and the man. It's like a weird weirdo dynamic. So anyway, thank you for trying to contribute to the work, but because of your personality and how shitty you guys are as human beings, you're not very helpful. Okay. Yeah, they're not going to answer the question, you guys. That's just the kind of people they are. They're going to keep calling over and over. Should we give them one more chance? One more. Here, let's just see. All right. Okay, here you get 30 seconds to let us know what the music video and song is and to promote your book and website. 30 seconds to do those two things.
You know, like the problem is you're fucking jealous. That's your fucking problem.
I think it's the other way around. Again, you guys learned from me, and I've never been jealous. I've always promoted everyone who's helped share good work, including you. So I was going to give them 30 seconds to answer the simple question and promote it. And again, I don't know what their book's called, and see how they want to keep calling over and over, just weirdos. But again, those people seem like demons. So if you guys want to check out their channel, 7154, and they can share the name of their book there. They always act like I should have shared something of theirs. I'm like, I'm not really following your guys' work unless you call into the show and let me know about what you found. I don't know. They're like, they act like it's my responsibility to share all their posts. And the problem is they've done some good work. But like I said, when I was following their blog back on his promote, I'd look at some things and I'd be like, that's not exactly right. I'm not sure about that. You kind of twisted things there. That's kind of a stretch there. So yeah, again, that phrase about like how, a broken clock is right twice a day. Just based on their work, that's kind of like I see where that phrase comes when you start to think about people like them. So their work's better than that, though. That's not fair, but they're definitely weirdos. They definitely represent what's wrong with the world. Yeah, no, I really would like to know the answer to their question about what music video they're talking about from the the Biden song selection, but if they're not going to tell us, it's not that important. Um, there's a hostage situation in Dixon, Illinois. Uh, Last Nation subdivision yesterday, 4 shot. I see. Off exit 56, huh? Yeah. Yeah, they're calling over and over, but again, like I would like to give them another chance, but I just know they're going to keep playing the game and talking nonsense and just see the thing I notice about the community that harasses us, they're all kind of the same way. They lie about you. They say you did things to them that you didn't do. They project their own behavior. It's like her just saying we've never made a video before. Like if you know, you just know how ridiculous that is. It's like, no, you've made a lot of really weird videos, like trying to attack me for the first 5 minutes and then trying to promote like one little message of your find. It's like, okay, like why not just make a video sharing what you found and not attacking the person you learned from? Appreciate it, John. Thank you again for your generosity. This we'll be able to cover the electric bill for this stream now. So, but yeah, and also just like I don't even know. It just shows you all the lurkers and trolls and weirdos are just constantly watching. I mean, like these people are watching right now, and they're the ones that are. See, if you look at their actual work, like their work will like be attacking me in the work, like saying that this is. It's like I don't even watch you. Like I don't copy your work. You're watching me right now. I mean, again, who's inspiring who? We know the answers to these questions. It's not both ways. You did do a nice thing with Elvis, but really, I've hardly paid attention to anything you've done since then because you've been nothing but weirdos. I don't got time for weirdos. This whole game of pretty sure who the VP choice is. He probably hasn't even been told by his Jesuit puppet masters yet. That's why it's always like this. I'm pretty sure I know who it is. I'm going to tell any day now. God. Look at these headlines, you guys. You think this is an accident? This is on Fox News' front page on the day leaving 201 days left in the year. Amanda Klutz reveals exorbitant hospital bill from late husband's 95-day stay. Weren't we just talking about how the Jesuits were created to stop the 95 Theses and created 201 months later, and the whole MLK killing on the 95th day of the year, and the nation's first gun control 201 days later? Getting MLK named after Martin Luther, who wrote the 95 Theses. I don't even know who this person is. Amanda Klutz. If the Switzerland person keeps calling, if I pick them up right now, they're gonna be like, "We predicted the Amanda Klutz story in 5 years ago on our blog on this post." That's what they do a lot too. They say they predicted things, and then they post the post, read the post, and you're like, "There's literally nothing in here about this." Like, what's wrong with these people? What is wrong with these people? $3,000 a day. She's 42 right now. Who is she? American television personality, dancer, actress, and fitness instructor. Co-host of the daytime talk show The Talk. I don't know. I never heard of this person. All right. All right. Is there anything else that I missed today on this 201 day? Is there anything else we need to cover? They said Porzingis is the 33rd person ever with that injury, huh? I'm sure. Oh, trust me, I know all. I know all the creeps around here, Big Al. It's just that's what's annoying. Just how many weirdos like try to act like they're your friend for a minute, only to create problems. Any other stories I need to check out today, or can we wrap it up? Johnny Canales died. Let's see. I bet my dad's wife knows who that is. Let's see. Dead at 77, huh? On the day of the G7. Trump's last day being 77. Born in 47 was he. He's dead 67 days before his birthday, isn't he? If I'm counting right, he's dead 67 days before his birthday, the old blood sacrifice number. 17 days to the end of the month, 31 days to the end of July. That's 48 plus 19 more, 67. Got to be. Blood sacrifice, human sacrifice, 67. Again, satanic, 67. Like soul. We know about Trump's whole mega thing. Again, Donald Trump, mega, the Church of Satan, the highest degree of it. Mega. Anton LaVey dead in the massive 201 ritual, the founder of the Church of Satan. So Trump was making big headlines when he first got on the campaign trail with his comments about Mexicans. He said, "Who's doing all the raping?" Implying it was Mexicans. He's got that 150 in his name. We're talking about that Illuminati 150, Order of Illuminati 201. Again, Alec Baldwin shooting the woman in New Mexico in the 150 201 ritual. I don't know enough about his career to go back and look at his notable works. The Johnny Canales show debuted in 83. It would have turned, or it might have turned already 41 this year. At some point this year, if it hadn't already hit, would have been later. There again, there's obviously something about the Jesuits in 41 since their suppression lasted 41 years. It says on November 12th, 97, that's Arturo Sosa's birthday. He was born in 48, so that would have been his 49th birthday. On November 12th, 97, Canales was interviewed for the UTA Center for Mexican American Studies Oral History Project. Must have been a big deal. All right, just because I really would like this Switzerland person to share their find and actually promote their book for anyone who wants to check it out. All right, listen, you get one more time. This is a fourth chance today. Just answer the question about what the music video is and tell people where they can find your book.
Okay, so death predictions on the blog, which happened, Maradona, DMX, Larry King, all those posts you could look up, and they're there. Is it not true?
I don't know. I don't follow your work like that. Can you answer the question?
You do follow. You just said on your video that none of the work is true, that I always say I predict things and it doesn't happen. You just said that.
Okay. They don't want to promote their book or answer the question. So, like I said, I was paying attention for a little bit back in 2020 when you called in with the Elvis thing, which was probably like in March of 2020. So a lot of times passed since March of 2020. I mean, it's like these people think they're so smart, but they don't have common sense. No, I've hardly looked at your work at all since you started acting like a weirdo in probably May of 2020. I mean, no. Every now and then I'll see an email from you like the one you sent today with, check this out, what you're missing. And then it doesn't even tell me what I'm missing. It's just a game. These people are weirdos. Okay. Don't give weirdos a fourth chance. That's what we just learned today. I give people too many chances. Lifelong problem. March 29th again. Hold on. We were talking about March 29th with that other story in the news today. This guy says on March 29th in 2011, his show returned. He died at 76 with no explanation. I thought the headline said he died at 77. Hold on. Here it says he's 80. Here he's 80 years old, right? Johnny Canales is 80 years old here. Here he's 76. And then wait a minute, in the headlines he was 77. It's like, what? Sometimes you wonder why these deaths are so perfect. It's like, sometimes I just wonder if they just made the whole damn thing up, man. They just fudged all the numbers. Tehung, I got to look up what this kind of music is. A Mexican American inhabitant of southern Texas. So it relates to Texas. The weirdo person just will not stop calling over and over, just like all the other weirdos do. Why are they all trained in the same way of just like how to be a total just obnoxious person? It's like, okay, you get on the line. You wanted to promote your book. You heard them. They're like, you didn't promote my book. It's like, okay, here, promote your book. They don't even do it. Go away. Go away. Real quick, let's see if we can get some information on his discography real quick and see if there's any date that stands out here. Nothing pulled up for that. Well, long story short, we talk about it all the time with dead celebrities in 67. We brought it up a little bit yesterday with Jerry West. And now it's a day later, and I guess a Mexican American is. Yeah, his show began in 83, 41 years ago, USA 41. It is a Mexican American show, so I guess it makes sense. Trying to think about what else with 201 in Mexico. When I think of Mexico and 201, I don't have a whole lot on that list. He's technically not Mexican, though. He's born in Texas. Texas has that 12/29 birthday, the 201st prime. John says that music's big where he is. Okay. Selena. Okay. Yeah, Selena had a very by the numbers outro. It is 9-date numerology today. Carl says 9's the number. All right. Yeah, I think we got it all out there. I didn't really see I didn't see too many other additions in the chat, but my knowledge on Johnny Canales is quite short, so I can't do this one due justice. The 67 days, though, definitely stands out. All right, you guys, don't instigate that couple in the chat, man. I mean, they're already bad enough. It's just yeah, I just wish they could just cooperate and be helpful instead of just try to instigate and create needless problems. But that's how you can tell these people are really here for different reasons. Um. Oh, hold on. Let's do one more thing before we sign out. I just out of curiosity, Tim Cook. He's got that November 1st birthday. All ones. Computer equals 111. Internet equals 111. And Sumerian Gematria, they both got the 666 connection. Apple sold their first consumer computer for $666.06. We always talk about the Jesuits and big tech. We've always talked about Apple's logo and how it seems biblical, the bite out of the forbidden fruit. Genesis has the 666 connection like computer and internet, and how 666 is associated with porn and how internet and porn go together. And hold up. His birthday to today. $225 days after his birthday, 32 weeks in a day. That means what? It's 141 days to his upcoming birthday. It's 20 weeks in one day to his upcoming birthday. That's interesting, I suppose. It's kind of like 201 on the 201st day of the year. Yeah, the AI takeover and how high it has the market is it's not good for humanity. Oh man. It's a reminder that the market is not a reflection of how the common people are doing. It's a reflection of how the investor class is doing, and the investments class is a huge percentage of it is owned by a very small group of people. So Carl, you don't have to send in your picks today. Sorry, are you trying to play in the game on Patreon? Sorry, Carl. I would like to get you in the contest. You got to be one of the first 10 callers, though, on Monday. That might be tough with your time zone. But you're still welcome to send me information if you want. And WhatsApp is just fine. Thank you. I didn't know that, actually, John Mendoza. That's something I'm going to have to look into. I didn't know about Mexico's first black president in the 1800s. Interesting. Interesting about the roaring kitty thing and GameStop. Yeah, how it's all connected. All right, you guys. Yeah, well, we'll leave it there for now. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. And hey, shout out to Sarah Sutherland as we sign off. Appreciate that support, Sarah. Sarah, she'll never stop donating. She's just got too much generosity. But thank you again, Sarah. You've been super generous for a long time. If the games were real, Luka wouldn't be in the NBA. You have to learn how to dribble a basketball if you wanted to play an actual basketball game. NBA, you're allowed to carry now. The allowed carries allowing some of these guys to carry their career on a court where they don't belong. Yeah, Jason Tatum's another guy that can't dribble a basketball. Carries every single time. All right, True Sigger, we'll leave it there for now. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again to everyone who's the like and the share. And hopefully we'll have this short 2-all-1 book in the near future. And for the troll who wrote the book, I mean, I would help you promote your book because it gets out the knowledge, even though I don't like you at all. So you can leave a comment about where people can find your book. Don't blame me for people not getting your book. Could have called into any show during any open time slot at any point in any of the last 4 years and promoted your book instead of being a weirdo. All right. We'll leave it there, True Seeker. Until next time.